Hey all. Um, I just wanted to do some explanation or just bare minimum. I just want people to know that my ideal situation is not working with normal hardware to do my builds. It's in the desire to make ultra portable, ultra mobile systems that can be even possibly integrated into the head units in cars or trucks or SUVs or vans or whatever. Um, mobile gaming stations, uh, possibly even handhelds. Who knows? Um, I just want to make it completely clear, like I did at the end of my post earlier, that what I am wanting to do will never have Windows, Mac OS, or Chrome OS on it. Ever. Because those are big tech, uh, absolute negative. They are the worst uh, operating systems on the planet. Yes, Linux still has some issues, but because of the dev teams, especially when it comes to Arch-based Linux distributions that are, well, pretty much all Arch distributions are rolling release, not scheduled release. So if something breaks, it's fixed almost immediately, within hours or maybe even a couple of days. Who knows? Um, so you guys, I want you to know that my dream is to be all AMD, all open source. When I'm sure that eventually the Radeon cards will be made into they will have ARM architecture versions of those chips as well, which will make my desire and dream come even closer to reality. Because all they really need to do that is what they've already done with the CPU side of things. And they already have custom ARM based CPU architecture within the AMD side of things. Um, so I wonder if I can share my screen. I don't think it'll let me, but um, you guys, we don't have it easy right now because of the situation, financial situation, global situation, currency situation. All that stuff is all a bunch of a huge conglomeration of bullcrap and insecurity. They say that our bank system is one of the most secure systems on the planet, but it really isn't. Um, I want to reiterate my dream is to be completely open source, completely ARM or even RISC-V architecture builds. The RISC-V is way far in the future, I can tell you that right now. But at least ARM architecture is a lot closer to being reality than anything else at this point in time, aside from x86. I will do x86 builds. I will do mainstream builds for those of us who don't want to deal with ARM architecture at this point in time. I will do that anytime anybody asks. But here's the thing. As I've probably stated before, I do not have the money to pre-build the systems before you buy them. So you would need to, in faith, and I know it takes a lot of faith, in faith, you would have to send me the money one way or another so that I could build the computer for you and get it sent to you, or even bring it to you depending on where you happen to be. At this point in time, I would prefer if you were somewhere on the western side of the United States, anywhere from about Colorado and straight down and west, um, that would make things easier. Granted, it doesn't seem like the shipping deals have anything to do with amount of distance between the business uh, and the person who they're sending their goods to or selling their services to, for that matter. It just happens to be as to how heavy the packages are. So, um, but my overhead would generally be in between 10 and 15, possibly even 20% over the top because of shipping costs and operational costs and just making sure that I have money in my pocket to pay my bills and to help my parents out, help my wife out, however it ends up happening. So, like I said, I don't know how far in the future the ARM option is going to be, but if I can finally get AMD's attention, it could be sooner rather than later. Who knows? And that will diminish the cost fairly substantially. Maybe not at first, but over time it will. When it comes to the CPU architecture, it will be mobile, or GPU architecture. It will be mobile, the mobile GPUs, not the dedicated, not the desktop versions. God only knows how hard that's going to be to try to integrate a dedicated GPU chip, or even a card for that matter, onto a micro ITX type, something like a minis forum, or that type of situation. Where, I mean, I know that minis forum, and I gotta love them. They're an awesome company from what I've heard. Their B550 setup, they have the option to have a dedicated GPU mount for the outside of the full enclosure. In fact, I think that actually comes in the contents of the package if you were to build it, and you can get bare bones for $200 or $300. So that means you're choosing the CPU and you're choosing the GPU instead of telling them, hey, I want you to put this or that in there. You can put it in yourself. And I might actually see about getting into doing some type of affiliation with them, or maybe some type of licensing agreement with them, so that I can sell their products with Linux on them. Basically refurb type situation, or open box type situation, where it's no longer going to be Windows on it. It's going to be Linux. That would honestly be my best and easiest way of doing things at this point in time. Doing a small form factor build like that B5, the Minis Forum B550, or even going through a place like Firefly, who uses the Rockchip processors in their builds, in their single board computers. Getting a few of those and getting a 512 gig NVMe drive or a terabyte NVMe drive, and going from there. I mean, those are some of the most powerful single board computer units you can find these days. And those are Rockchip is an ARM-based CPU deal. Firefly just happens to use their chips on their single board computer units. So I could look into trying to get in with them somehow as well. They're already almost fully compatible with Linux as it is right now. several versions of Linux. I was actually just talking to my brother over at Tech Freedom earlier about it. So yeah, I mean, there are options for me to get started fairly inexpensively, but even with that, I'd have to still charge some type of overhead fee for the open box and reflashing reinstallation process situation with Linux and whatnot. No.
What? I'm getting my pillow.
Um. Um. And go from there, just so I can start getting some money, coming in from those options. Now, granted, I know that unless I'm doing a larger amount of turnover for those types of machines, it's not really going to give me a whole lot of extra to work with. But it would make things faster in some respects as well. Because all I'd have to do is buy, say, the Minisforum HX90 and flip it over to Linux. It already can come with up to 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and which is actually in SODIMM form, because it's a laptop chip, and a 512 gig NVMe drive, which is a PCIe 3 at this point in time, but hey, it is what it is. I could upgrade the RAM. It can go up to 64 gigs. I can upgrade the SSD up to 4 terabytes even, if need be, depending on what the necessity for that option is, for the customer is. And pretty much same thing with the Firefly. The Firefly starts at 220 or 230 bucks. Also an 8-core ARM architecture CPU with a quad-core open ARM Mali GPU. Can run up to 8K at 60 hertz. Good Lord, guys. I mean, that's like holy mackerel. Not that you'd really want to use that in gaming, but you could if you really wanted to. So, that being stated, I know I've probably run quite a while longer than I was expecting to, but I want you guys to think about what you desire in your computers, in your desktops, in your mobile workstations, so to speak. And talk about it. Tell me what you want, and I can see if I can make it happen. So there you go. Thanks for watching. If you weren't a part of the live stream, I appreciate your time and you taking the time to watch this whenever you had or have or do, however you want to put it. And I will try to continue on this path of updates and go from there. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See you in the next one.